here today to teach you some quick, easy to set up, easy to play multiplication games. Because if we're going to be stuck in our houses on lockdown, we may as well memorize our multiplication facts. No, the real reason is that I truly believe that knowing your multiplication facts, having them memorized, is a foundational skill that everyone should have.
This first game is called Multiplication War. It's a 2-player game and all it requires is a deck of cards. You can remove the face cards if you like, or you may decide to leave them in. In this case, I left in the Jack, which equals 11, and the Queen, which equals 12. Next, you need to split the deck between the 2 players. On the count of 3, both players turn over their top card. They then have to quickly multiply the 2 facts together, and the first person to call out the correct product, in this case 4, wins both cards. Play continues with each player collecting the cards they've won. If there is a tie and both players call out the correct answer at the same time, in this case 66, simply play the next 2 cards on the pile. The first person to call out the right product wins all of the cards. When one player reaches the end of their original pile, they start using the cards that they've collected. Keep playing until one person wins all of the cards, or until you decide you want to end the game, in which case the person with the most cards is the winner. This next game is called Spiral Multiplication. It can be played with 2 or more players, and to start you'll need a deck of cards with the face cards removed, or you can leave them in to make it more challenging. You'll also need a die and a couple of game pieces. To set up the game, you'll need to arrange the cards in a spiral formation, starting from the center and working your way out. Place the game pieces on the first card in your spiral. Player number 1 will roll the die and multiply the number rolled by the number of the card they're sitting on. So in this case, 2 times 6. If they get the correct answer, which is 12, they get to move the number of spaces shown on the die. Player 2 then gets to roll, and again, they will multiply the number shown on the die by the number of the card they're sitting on. If they get the right answer, they get to move forward 3, because that is the number they rolled. If either player gets the answer wrong, they do not get to move that game piece. They simply lose their turn. The game continues until one of the players reaches the last card in the spiral. The final game I'm going to show you is called Multiplication Squares. To play, you'll need to print off the game board. You'll also need a couple dice and some colored pens or pencil crayons. Each player will need a different color. Player 1 rolls both of the dice on the table and multiplies the 2 numbers together. In this case, 6 times 4 equals 24. The player looks for that product on the game board and draws one line connecting any 2 dots that surround it. Players take turns rolling the dice, multiplying the numbers together, and drawing lines on the game board, with the goal of drawing a line that completes a square. When a player does draw a line that completes a square, That player gets to color in the square with his or her pen. This is good because the whole point of the game is to capture the most squares. It's important to note the square you color in may not match the product on the dice. In this case, 2 times 2 is 4, but when I draw my line, I'm able to capture the square that says 24 above it. If, near the end, a player rolls a product that has no more available lines left on the board, the player's turn is over and play continues with the next player. The game ends when all dots on the board have been connected, and the player with the most captured squares is the winner.
These types of games that have you practicing your multiplication facts over and over again, they create muscle memory. It becomes an automatic process. Just like with reading, as we learn to read, we start with basic sight words like is and the. And this list just keeps growing until we have this huge catalog of words that we've essentially memorized. And because of this, it makes reading a lot quicker and more fluent. Now, imagine reading and having to stop and decode every single word. So every time you came across the word cat, you'd have to sound out every letter. K, a, t. And now imagine having to do that for every word in a sentence, in a paragraph, in a book. It would be exhausting. We don't have the mental stamina for that. And it's the same in math. If you aren't comfortable with your basic multiplication facts, and then all of a sudden you're being asked to multiply 2-digit numbers, 3-digit numbers, or to divide, it seems a lot more daunting than it really is. It really is an essential building block in math. If you know your times tables, it makes learning division, learning fractions, learning percents a whole lot easier. A lot of us were taught our times tables through rote practice. So 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 5 is 10. And that worked really well for some, not so much for others. You may have also practiced with flashcards or maybe by doing mad minutes, which were always traumatizing. And I'm not knocking any of these ways of memorizing your multiplication facts, but they definitely don't work for everyone. So if they're not for you and you're looking for a more engaging way to learn your times tables, I propose you try some of these games because they're a great alternative and they're a lot more fun. And I should note that there's no age limit to any of these games. They're great for teenagers or adults who are looking to upgrade their math skills or maybe just refresh their memory. They're great for kids who are learning or need to practice their times tables. So any parents out there that are looking for some resources, games are a great way to present new math concepts, and your kids won't even feel like they're doing schoolwork. So try out these games with your family, with your roommates, whoever you're self-isolating with. Play them over FaceTime with your friends. I don't know. The point is, give them a try and have fun.